Oh, I was going to say, with those shades, I hardly recognized you. Incognito.
Or sunglasses.
Oh, yeah.
Good for your eyes.
So, yes, yeah, I do too. Really odd some days. You know, some days the light's just not quite right. You just need them. Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You can't do that.
Keep doing what I'm doing. Backtracked on that one, didn't he?
I can't see it all.
Yeah. I know.
All right. Look at here. Signatures.
Yeah, sign your life away. Morning, Carla. If you sit, you ready?
You had Garrett.
Oh, good morning, everyone. We are on the clock, so I will open this meeting of the DeKalb County Commissioners. The date is September 26, 2022. Morning, Dottie. What you got today?
Good morning. Well, we'll talk some hiring. 4D has had a case manager position open, and they've done quite a few interviews. It sounds like they have chosen one, and I believe that person will probably start October the 3rd. And in the meantime, the prosecutor's office lost a legal secretary, and so since 4D was in the process of interviewing, that was great. They offered one of their candidates the position over in the prosecutor's office. So I think that person is going to start on the 10th. So that's great. Kill two birds with one stone. I like that. Yeah. Community Corrections, their 3 will start October the 11th. So that's good. The Sheriff's Department, well, there might be one in the pipeline right now. It's just the nature of the beast right now. Community Corrections only has one full spot left to fill. That's a really good thing. And we still have our line in the water. So we'll see what happens with those. The Extension Office, I've mentioned, they're going to wait until after the fair. Probably October the 7th is when they'll start taking a serious look at the resumes that I've sent. And I have received for that office clerical position about 150 resumes. Now, about half of them have the type of clerical office skills that we would like to see. So that's a lot. I wish we could transfer that number over to the Sheriff's Department or even Sunny Meadows. You know, we've been recruiting for about a week for the 2 full-time and the 1 part-time housekeeper positions out there, and we haven't had a great response. So we'll keep plugging away at those. As you know, we'll need to start thinking about what to do about, if we're going to fill that administrator position. However, somebody got wind of the fact that we will have a position maybe open out there, and she contacted me on Friday. We had a nice long conversation, and she sent me her resume over the weekend. So I look forward to taking a look at that and forwarding that on to you guys. So that's, I like when, it was a current employee who had mentioned to this person, hey, this might be right up your alley. So, and from the conversation I had with her, yeah, it would be right up her alley. So, we'll see. Let's see what else. Highway Department. I didn't hear from Ben this morning. I was hoping that maybe he could give me an update, but on the 3 interviews that he was going to have. Let's see. The Veteran Service Officer Deputy / office clerical position, the combination. Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy has the proposed information, the job description that Rhonda has put together, and they received that, and they were all at the AIC conference last week. So I did touch base with them, and they said that we should have information this week on that hybrid position. It's, from the conversation I had with them, when you start adding office clerical positions to a part-time, that part-time position, it's going to change classification probably, and even it'll be, it'll probably be a different wage range also. So we'll have to deal with that when we get the information. So, I know. I wish we would. I'll keep my fingers crossed. I'll send it to everybody as soon as I get it. But yeah, I know. Yeah, that's why I was kind of, yeah. But they were all at AIC, so they really weren't working on stuff. And speaking of Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, they normally do, they've worked with like 80 of the counties, and I don't even know how many of our of the municipalities that they've worked with. But generally, they do around maybe 8 wage reviews or work studies like we had done back in 2019. They've done 14 so far this year. People are just trying to figure out what they need to do regarding the employment situation, wage situation that we have in this climate. So they've been really busy. So I'm really glad that I got our request in when I did, so that we would have it in plenty of time for the budget review. So that was good. Speaking of AIC, the conference, Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy was part of a panel discussion in one of the sessions on attracting and retaining the county workforce, which, we just need to push really all of the benefits that we have. Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, because they deal with so many counties, they know exactly what counties have to offer, what government has to offer as perks and benefits. And they listed insurance, health insurance, as one of those perks. And it's like, well, we're working on ours to make it more, maybe more advantageous to new employees. We actually had somebody turn down an offer because of the cost of the family insurance. So that just happened last week. So anyway, that was, I think we're trying to do what WIS recommended in that session. And then during the HR affiliate, and we're not an official affiliate of AIC, so it's my ragtag group of email list, my HR support group. We had a meeting, and we had a labor attorney, Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, and an insurance broker. Panel discussion. They presented some good information for us, and the HR professionals shared some things. We also had a couple auditors who their payroll HR person is on my list, but they were so interested. They're very interested in this whole topic of recruiting, retention, employee, caring for the employees. And so had a couple who wanted to be added to our HR list. So that's always good to hear. Let's see, what else about the HR affiliate? We had another presentation, Nationwide, who is now the administrator of our Hoosier Start program, that 457 Roth, the deferred comp benefit that we offer. The county does not contribute anything, but employees contribute. And so we had some good information from them, found out something that I could pass along to the payroll department here, and also something that I'll be passing along to the people who are currently enrolled, that Nationwide has a person on their staff who will not just look at their Hoosier Start, but look at the person's entitled portfolio. Exactly, their entire portfolio, what they have for retirement, or looking at kids' college, things like that. And it's absolutely free to those who are enrolled in Hoosier Start. So, and it's, I was informed, it's not just a one-page, it's a consultation and an umpteen-page report from this person. So that's a nice benefit, especially if somebody does not have a financial advisor and they really would like some information. We are in the planning stages in October for our PERF representative to come up and have a meeting with the City of Auburn and our employees. And as soon as we get a flyer put together from them, we will be sending that out and hoping that our employees who are unfamiliar with PERF or who are nearing retirement or thinking about retirement will come to the presentation so that they can learn a little bit more about this huge benefit. We did talk about how big a benefit having a pension is, how rare that they are in this day and age. So that was another good part of our meeting. And in the exhibit hall, I picked up buku information for Jack and for Teresa in payroll and the IT department, and just all kinds of stuff for them. And then just wanted to touch base. I had sent over to you some information on the utilization review that I had with Anthem, and just didn't know if anybody had any questions about it or any discussion that wanted to be held. I think it was pretty self-explanatory. They do a really good job with their charts, and also you had my little notes that were written on there when I scanned them over to you. So we do have some things to promote to our employees. The live health online visits that someone could avoid a trip either to the doctor or even to the ER, and they're not availing themselves of that live health online. So and talked with some in the insurance brokers about pharmacy, and you will not believe one of the one insurance broker who did the presentation for the HR affiliate. They have a pharmacist who will review. Yeah. Once again, if you're self-insured, you have a lot more leeway. And that was one of the things when it was asked, are you self-insured or fully insured? And I was the only person who held up my hand to be fully insured. So they picked on me a little bit about, just what a difference it is to be self-insured or partially insured, and just how much more you can do because you're not the tail, you're not the tail wagging the dog. So anyway, the one insurance broker, they have a pharmacist who will review there was that list of all of those prescription drugs that our employees use, and they will take a look at, okay, what kind of programs are out there? How can we get into a rebate program to benefit us, to benefit the employee? What kind of coupons do they have? One of my HR people actually went to the effort and looked up for one of her top used drugs of her employees, looked up if there were coupons or some sort of a program. And so her eyes were getting big as saucers when she was hearing that the broker would actually do that work for her. And she was sending out coupons to her employees that you can take. I know I've used coupons before, and just because you have insurance doesn't mean that you have to use it.
Right.
And so if you have a coupon for, yeah, that's what I say. Once again, it kind of goes with that. If you don't ask, you don't get.
Dottie, not to interject, but to
Go
make her
ahead.
point, my wife needed a cream that was $248 after insurance stepped in.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cash price was the same as the insurance price, of course. However, this pharmacy in Fisher said, hey, we have a coupon. It's $60 delivered to your house, and it even comes in a refrigerated case. And the pharmacies here won't accept the coupon because I think they get paid later, 60, 90 days, whatever.
That reimbursement
But
thing,
it's just
yeah.
amazing if you look what you can find, because there are deals out there, but you got to look for them, and that's the problem.
Right, yeah.
People just don't look,
Right.
There's a huge difference between pharmacies.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
This
that
pharmacy-
too, huge difference.
This
Yeah.
pharmacy actually had the coupon sitting on their desk. We'll just use the coupon for you. And they even told my wife, they said, hey, if this coupon ever expires, we'll call you. But otherwise, we're just going to ship it every
Wow,
month to
that was
you.
great.
So look for good service is what I'm saying, because it is out there. But-
Yes.
Go- I didn't mean to interject.
No,
I just wanted to
that
give a
worked
example,
perfectly
so.
because that HR person was like, you guys would do that? She said you wouldn't believe how much time that she actually spends
Sure.
doing that, trying to help her employees and cut costs for their health plan. And they're self-insured. So she was going to talk to that insurance broker. So options are out there.
Yeah.
As we move a little closer and closer to, being a little more creative with our health plan, I think there's discounts, there's savings to be had out there. So anyway, that in a nutshell is what I had from last week, kept up on everything. One big project that I have Lindsay doing right now. When I came on board, our I-9s, that's the form that your employees fill out to verify that they can work in the United States. And in the review, my initial project, I reviewed all of the current employees at the time, fixed the I-9s, moved some employees who were no longer with us into the terminated pile. You're supposed to keep two different piles, one for current and one for terminated employees. I did find out from the Board of Retention Services or whatever down at the state that we still need to keep the terminated employees' I-9s separate from their terminated files, their personnel files,
Why?
of course, for 75 years. So because of that, and kind of in anticipation of, at some point in time doing a really good paper retention schedule, trying to get more of that on either a disk or in the cloud or wherever. We are having Lindsay scan all of the terminated ones so that, and we've gone through them. We're not even sure when this person terminated because they're not even in Lao. And so we're going to keep them in a file folder. We will store them as we normally do with our HR things in the basement, but she is also scanning them so that we have them electronically. And then if for some reason we ever would need them, doing that. It's a federal law that you have to keep them separate. And then, of course, it's a state law. Now, it would make sense. Take the I-9 out of the file, put it in the employee's personnel file, keep them together. Nope, can't.
Never heard of that law.
Yep. So anyway, and the fact that those we even have to, there's a different retention schedule per the feds for I-9s. And the state retention says, oh no, you must keep those also for 75 years after the employee leaves our employ. Okay, we'll work with that. So anyway, that's what Lindsay is doing. Scan, and she's doing a great job. She has a great identification system so that if we ever were to need to find that one for that terminated employee, we'd be able to find it. So. Anyway, we're making progress on that. There's also there was a box that Susan found in her office that had some cards. I'm sure at some point in time, the payroll auditor's office had an index card, and it was nicely printed out, form. So that all you had to do was fill in the blanks for every employee who was employed at the time, and they were kept in this blue file, and then if they were terminated, they moved to another part in the file. So Lindsay went ahead and we put any of those cards that were of a current employee, we put those in the current employee file, and if it was somebody who had terminated where we still have the file in our office, we filed them in there. Otherwise, she went ahead and scanned them, identified them, and if we ever needed to find these for whatever reason, they have the same sort of information that we have in Lao. It's all the same information, when the person started, person's birth date. There's some personal information on there, so we don't want to just let it out there. So anyway, just trying to still cleaning up a few things. But anyway, so that's, like I said, that's what I have. What do you guys have?
Go for it. Anybody? Oh, no.
Here.
Okay.
Ben had an interview last week with a potential employee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know how that went?
I don't. No, I don't.
Okay. Lindsay didn't go down.
No. She wasn't available, and I was in South Bend.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, I didn't get a report from Ben this morning.
Okay.
Yeah, but if I do, we'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. I guess you're out of here.
Okay.
I beat that.
You can find me.
Will it make you mad? You have a Kleenex. By chance. Not coming through. Okay. Let's move on to claims. We had a batch of them.
Did.
And I'll move to approve the batch of them.
Second that?
A motion and second to approve claims. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries. Minutes, and I do have a question on minutes.
Yeah, part of it's missing.
You found that too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right before or you mentioned my name, the sentence just stops right in the middle and doesn't continue.
This one, where was that? I got one here that stopped.
These are,
Right
Well, it's
before you
buggy
mentioned
ordinance.
my statement that it's probably about halfway to 3/4 down. I have it here.
That was in the buggy ordinance?
Is right
Discussion.
before the buggy ordinance mention. Oh. Right. Yeah, right here, it's under matter of letter to the editor from Mary Smaltz, buggy ordinance.
Right.
About halfway through there. It says about halfway through there, it says LaGrange is not covering the expenses to fix their roads. Commissioner Hartman wanted to comment that the gas tax that is paid by the Amish, as it is spread across the blank, Todd Sanderson made it. And so,
That's just my train of thought, just follows right with my train of thought.
yeah, blank.
Just lose it in there.
Next blank.
It just goes blank, you
Kind of
know?
like Paul when he wrote Romans, he just run on sentences everywhere, so.
Would be spread across several different individuals because they ride in vans and there might be 6 or 7 or. Yes, it wouldn't be each individual's. It'll be sharing actually the expense of that.
Yeah, I
gas
think
tax.
that's what I remember you saying is they use large vans with a lot of
Yeah.
people in them. I was reading that, I thought, must drank too much wine, I'm not able to figure out this sentence here.
Yeah, I had the same thing. That's all I had.
That's all I had too out of there, the rest of it looked good.
Motion to approve amended.
As amended, yeah, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes amended.
Second.
A motion and second. Any other comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries. Bravo.
Might be the shortest day we've ever had.
It might be. We may set a record
Break
here.
my heart.
It wouldn't beat our 9-minute session we had on Auburn Council at
No,
one time
no.
though.
We do have Larry coming in about 9:20.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh, is it Larry?
Larry. Well, yeah, he'll come in after Paul White.
Oh, Larry
Yeah.
Lane. Okay, yeah, okay. I was like,
Okay, travel.
yes.
The gang
Yeah.
is going on a party.
Yeah, I
think.
see you guys are all partying.
Yeah, the party girls.
Can I give you like some prepaid cards too to go? So
That was state mandated.
I know. Just giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve travel.
Second.
A motion second to approve travel. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed, same. Travel is approved. Central Communications cleaning.
Seemed expensive, but then again, I don't clean buildings, so you know it's a pretty good sized building there.
What was that,
I wouldn't
12?
do it for that.
Yeah, no, I probably wouldn't do it either. So
1,200?
yeah, no, it was 1,080 something, I believe. That was 2 times a week though, which probably isn't out of line, really. We pay like 5,500 a year to have it done once a week. So twice a week, double it up, I suppose you're there, you know. I don't know if you want, I know that Brian had someone that works there that would like to bid on it, but my concern was, are they insured?
Yeah.
You know, that a little bit of a concern to me. If technically, if they would get hurt when they're not on the job, they're not an employee, and
Well,
or if
yeah,
they damage
I mean,
something.
you have to have that delineated pretty specifically if you've got an employee working on a contract basis.
Yeah.
That needs to be covered.
Yeah, and I'm also, like, I've been down this road with Indiana State before, and they, no, that's an employee. That's not a private contractor, that's an employee. Well, I don't know if we should get another bid or let them bid, or what's their qualifications, or if you just want to accept this one. I don't care. Whatever you think.
Who was that bid? Put that bid in.
Larry,
That was Larry.
A1, or A1 did.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a shady bunch of people.
I know, it's kind of a rough group.
Yeah. I think we just go with that.
Go with that.
Yeah. If that's, unless you want to go with the employee, but
No,
That's
I
just a
feel better
problem.
about having a professional organization do it. I
I
really
think we're
do.
just asking for complications. If we,
Let's
if,
say,
if they're a private individual, they don't have
yeah.
any kind of company established, even if it's a
right.
individual owner company, I just,
And you get into damage or spills or something, wrong chemical used on,
Or what if they don't do a good job
Get hurt.
and you have to fire them from that? Do they quit their other job too?
Yeah.
I think we're better just to, yeah.
yeah.
So I make a motion, we accept A1's proposal.
I will second that.
a motion and a second to approve A1, set to dispatch maintenance or cleaning. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same, motion carries. Okay, Plan Commission member. Where are we at?
They are recruited. Suzanne Davis is going to take the seat.
Who is?
Suzanne Davis. Suzanne Davis. Yeah, yeah. So she's agreed to take that seat, fits all the qualifications, and Chris is working on orientation and all of that
Okay.
important stuff tomorrow. Okay.
I think Chris even had an ad or a letter to the
Well, I
editor.
did that because the good thing, I think, and God love people. The person was a renter in Auburn, so they don't qualify. One is in Waterloo.
Oh, you have to own property?
You have to.
Yes.
Wow.
In
either live- You
unincorporated.
either live in unincorporated DeKalb County or just live in.
Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting.
And in this
So
instance,
I
be a
did that to try to
Democrat.
get just a list of people that would be interested, so we're not finding somebody to
Right.
fill the seats. We've got to go with both Democrats and Republicans.
Sure.
It's not So, yeah, I did do the newspaper, and I got a couple interests, and then somebody actually nominated Suzanne, who did talk to, she was actually another township trustee. But she nominated Suzanne too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I talked to Suzanne, she's on board, I talked to HR about the election board as well.
Yeah.
They're okay with
Good.
Good.
Okay,
Problem solved.
thank
I
you.
didn't think we'd find a Democrat, so that's good.
That's difficult. Well,
Well, it's-
even with Republicans or independents,
Yeah.
people just are not inclined to participate in things like that
No.
in any great numbers. I mean, it's every position we've had to go
Yeah.
look for people for has been difficult to fill.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to have that behind us.
Yes.
Yes.
Put a check mark beside that one.
Check mark.
Miscellaneous topics. Anything, anyone?
I have two
All right.
miscellaneous topics. One is, and I was hoping Ben would be here today. I didn't have the agenda in front of me at the time, but I got a phone call from a lady named Becky Roller.
Becky, who?
Roller.
Roller?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, oh shoot, I don't have the sheet I wrote her address down on, but anyway. Apparently the highway department was working on a bridge and cut a CenturyLink cable, which knocked out their internet. This happened on September 12th, I think.
Okay.
Of course, we don't have any idea whether the cable was buried where it was supposed to be, where it was located, was it deep enough, was any of the specifications met. But anyway, she has no internet, hasn't had, and she called and left me a voicemail again this morning. CenturyLink won't be able to repair it till sometime in October.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, and I don't hardly see how the county has any responsibility for how incompetent their service is, but anyway.
Didn't Ben, just so we, not to, but
Yeah.
didn't Ben last week or the week before talk about that there was a internet line not marked and it wasn't in the right of way or something like, or it was in the right of way and or not in the right of way? I can't remember. I think it'd be a good question for Ben, but go ahead and finish your story.
Well, her story is that whoever was doing the work, when her neighbor is an elderly person that has the landline with CenturyLink too. So when his internet and landline went out, he went over and talked to whoever was doing the work, and they said they'd report it, get it taken care of, and apparently that didn't happen, and they called the highway department and didn't get the answer they wanted, or an answer at all, or I'm not sure how the story goes. Anyhow, she is irate about the situation and expects the county to pay for her CenturyLink service that we cut while she's out of service. And
Just talked to Parker Wednesday. He didn't say anything about it. He did have another issue with the line that Frontier plowed in.
That who?
Frontier plowed in a line, plowed it right through a cross pipe, a steel cross pipe.
whoa.
Yeah, cut the cross pipe, steel cross pipe. That takes some doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
he's going to he asked me about it, sending them a bill for it. And I said, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Send them a bill, because they don't hesitate to send us one if we cut theirs. They cut our cross pipe. He's going to pull it clear out and replace it.
Yeah.
It's ruined.
Now that you mention it, I do think a couple of weeks ago, he's mentioned something about a line that got cut that wasn't where it was supposed to be or something. But
I
don't
seem
know
to
what the-
remember that.
I know what
Yeah.
the details
And it
are.
wasn't supposed to be there was the thing.
That's the thing that we run into all the time.
Yeah.
We had one a couple of years ago. They actually ran over the top of a cross pipe. And they
Yeah.
went in to replace the cross pipe, and of course you cut it.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
I feel for it. I mean, it
Yeah.
stinks to lose your internet, but we have to maintain the roads and ditches, and if the lines aren't in the right spot,
yeah, we need to get the whole story on it.
yeah, we need to
both
hear
sides of
more.
it.
Ben will be here.
Ben will be here next week.
Yeah, he's not here this week, right?
Not today. He's in, but he's not.
I bet, we could make a phone call
Okay.
during break
I'll
at
just-
least, and
Yeah, okay.
get,
Yeah.
at least give her an answer. I'd like to address her concern.
Yeah, I told her I'd give her a call today.
Yeah, let's
We
call
might-
Ben during
told her
the
we might
break.
not
or
have a
something.
solution, but I'd at
Sure.
least update her on
Yeah.
Yeah, that
what's
sounds
going
good.
on.
Okay.
I can pretty safely say that if any other provider had a line cut, they would have responded pretty
Oh.
quickly. I mean, AES would have known before the customer did that the service was out, and,
Yeah.
MediaCom or any of those others would have been out
Yeah.
and
I would
had it
think.
repaired. So anyway,
Yeah. You think that'd be a top priority, get out and
Yeah.
fix
yeah, you'd think so.
severed lines.
Yeah, yeah. They had no idea there was a line cut. They sent the repair guy out to her house, and he started tracing it backward and found the line cut, so. Yeah, obviously their technology isn't what most of the other providers are.
Okay. What else do you have, Mike?
Quick thing, Okra is doing a round of community development block grants. Two things that those cover are public facilities and stormwater, which is drainage. So I would like to look into those a little bit just to see what's available. The public facilities grant would cover and specifically mention facilities for groups with special needs. So regardless of how things progress at Sunny Meadows, there's going to be some expense there. And if we could cover that with a CDBG, we wouldn't have to use maybe we wouldn't have to use ARPA funds. I'm not sure, but I think it's worth looking into.
We'll have to look at that pretty thoroughly because
Yeah.
you don't know what upgrades we may have to make to qualify.
Well, exactly.
And
Yeah,
that could be a
yeah,
tough situation.
yeah. So, yes. Stormwater,
Stormwater.
community development block grants from OCRA. OCRA. Office of Community and Rural.
Okay.
All right, that's it.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Todd, you got anything?
It's going to be in a long discussion, obviously. There's more people opine on it, but the solar farms, I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be a good discussion. I thought we had this behind us with the ordinance that we wrote, that I thought was very restrictive. Plus, we've pretty much eliminated, I'd like to remind the folks out there, we've almost eliminated wind turbines from ever being here with the restrictions we did. And I thought the solar, one thing I would just like to state, and I get people not wanting them, but what if you want to put solar on your own property? You can go within 30 foot of the property line, surround your whole house with solar, and your neighbor has to look at it. I don't see the difference between it and commercial, really, other than whether you like commercial or not. I don't think it makes any sense, the commercial, but
I got a question for Chris. We debated the setback on the private solar from the property line.
Personal
Yeah,
property,
right.
it'd be 10 feet.
It'd be 10 feet.
10 feet,
Yeah,
not
I
30.
told you
It
wrong.
is accessory structures on people's residential.
So you could put it,
Commercial, it's plus
Yeah.
somebody has a house. Plus,
from the road. So if I own, just so I understand, let's say I own 5 acres and I want to put 50 solar panels up, I can put them 10 foot from the property line? Right, if it's, I'm using the power, it's, but again, that goes, how much freedom do you want? How much restriction do you want? And as you move in town, the restrictions go up and the freedom goes down as you move in the country,
As I run that scenario through my mind, well, what if there's property owners adjacent to each other?
Huh?
And the one's house is minimal amount from the property line, and the other one has room on that side facing south, and they want to put in a mini solar field. So there it is, 10 feet from the neighbor's property line. The neighbor might only be 50 feet from the property line. He looks out his window, he's going to look at his neighbor's solar field.
right?
It's kind of what's,
Well, and I think the ordinance that we passed is very equitable in terms of setbacks and landscaping requirements and buffers and.
Yeah, we really knocked it
And,
down.
I'm not inclined at all to relitigate the ordinance part of things.
I don't think so.
No, I'm more
and
interested
so-
in the compensation.
Well, exactly, and I gave you something that I got from Randolph County.
Yeah, I read that.
Alternative energy was a big topic at the AIC conference. And Randolph's been in it since 2014, so they have some considerable experience. Now, they do have a little different mix, because they do have wind
Right.
along with solar, but their economic development payments, and keep in mind, their population is half the size of DeKalb County, but their economic development payments over the course of the abatement periods for those projects is going to be a minimum of $34 million.
How much?
$34 million, minimum. And David suspected, he's president of the county council, but was a commissioner at the time. He said it's probably realistically going to be closer to $60 million.
Wow.
In economic development payments. And there's, you can imagine what we could do with roads and drainage and bridges and a lot of other things with $30 or $40 million in economic development payments. Plus, and we got into this pretty deeply in some of the sessions, the additional assessed valuation of those solar fields
Yeah.
knocks the tax rates for everybody down.
Yeah, it lowers the tax rates for everyone if the, yeah.
So the net effect of this benefits every single taxpayer in DeKalb County.
Yeah. So considering DeKalb County and a lot of our areas we're at circuit breaker levels, it would be nice to have some relief on property tax.
Well, yeah, the more going into the kitty, the less everybody.
So like I said, it's a longer discussion for later. We're
Yeah.
on the clock, but I just wanted to let everyone know we are hearing the concerns and we'll address them.
And we are working on it. We have a lot to think about and a lot to discover, a lot of knowledge to gain on this
Yeah.
before we even get to that point of
Yeah.
making that decision.
Right.
Everybody keep an open mind and we'll do what we do. All right, Paul, let's get you up here and
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So Eric Fuller is present with us today. We're going to discuss his property. Eric, you want to
did you go with the photos in here on that subject if you want to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked
I viewed
at
them
it.
online, but
Yeah, we did see it. Thank you.
Nice job. Okay, so you guys have a copy of everything that I brought with me, hopefully.
We looked at them.
So Eric Fuller's property has been in my attention since March. My first notice to Eric was sent on March 10th. And then here we are all the way up to September with the third notice. A lot of extra time given there, and that's my fault on that. And then you guys should have a copy of my report as well. And photos taken on the 21st of the current state of the property, so. A lot of vehicles and scrap metals and things like that on the property. So if you guys would like, Eric can discuss what's going on there.
I brought that up on Beacon.
I'm sorry?
I brought that up on Beacon,
Oh,
that
yeah.
site, and it was like, this is just less than an acre. There's hardly room to walk around in it.
Yeah.
Got so much junk on it. Boats and you name it. It's right on 101 and 62, right? On the corner.
That's right, yep.
So,
I certainly agree with your assessment, Paul, that it looks like the latest set of photos are actually worse than the initial set.
what is the next step that you would recommend on this?
Well, I recommend it gets cleaned up. Eric can discuss with you what his intentions are with whatever's going on over there, so. Like I said, this has been a pretty long process so far. I mean, I typically look at a 30-day process, and I've given quite a bit of time, so. So Eric, what do you got?
I didn't make the mess in 30 days. It's going to take longer than that to clean it up.
Right,
So I was told originally if I put a fence up so you can't see it, what I got going on there, that would be a lot easier. So then, like, I got one person complaining. So I put a fence up on the east side. I had to get the fence to do the south side. I just now got the poles in the ground. I put the poles in originally, and then I ended up not being in the right spot. And the guy that owns the property next to me come and he told me I was in the wrong spot there, so I had to like redo all those. That's really hard ground. It took 2 weeks to dig all those holes to begin with, so it took another 2 weeks to fill them in and redig them. So between, you know, trying to work and everything I'm doing, I mean, I'm doing the best I can. I'm one person. And then, yeah, it does look worse because I'm trying to clean it up. So I got stuff spread out. I pulled cars out front so I could work out back. And everything is just everywhere. I don't know. I'm working at it. And I mean, that's the best I can do. I mean, I spend every moment that I have working at cleaning up the yard, you know, on top of trying to work and take care of my stepdad. That's like a big issue. So, I mean, that's the best I can do.
My concern is, there's obviously cars on this property that were not on this property back in March. I mean, these guys all have the photos.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like there's a lot of improvement. There's a lot of vehicles without registrations, I mean, without plates on them.
Plus, a lot of vehicles gone.
Since the 21st?
Since the original one, there was a lot more vehicles there than there is now. But the price of scrap dropped, so if I have to go scrap them all, I don't really want to lose my rear on it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do what I can. But there's
Chris,
also a situation.
This is an ordinance violation regardless of whether you can see it or can't see it. I mean, you can't store that sort of stuff on property, is that correct? So it doesn't make any difference if you have a fence or not. You cannot legally have all of that junk on your property.
So when we first spoke, you'd said something about a business, you were trying to make a business out of that.
That was my
and
question.
Of course, I don't know the rules and regulations and all that stuff, but, I mean, there's a lot of vehicles, man. Even the RVs, if you're heading north on 101, you see a big wall of RVs and.
I got rid of one of them, so, I mean, I'm working at it.
Are the tires from vehicles that you're scrapping? I see a big storage of tires.
So, I had a bunch of tires, and, I mean, a lot of people, like, buy tires from me. But when a friend of mine, Roger, when he passed away, his daughter gave me all the tires that he had, and then I had them on a trailer, and I was going to rack them all up, and it just ended up turning into a mess, which, I mean, we've been working at getting them sorted and getting them sold. They're not as bad as they were. I mean, I've got them, like, on racks now, for the majority, or in stacks, that way I can get rid of them.
What about the boats? You just collecting boats, or are they for sale, or?
That's the plan, is to sell them, yes. I'm working at it. I mean, some of the stuff didn't have titles. When the title law changed, that made it pretty difficult for me to get rid of them. So, I mean, I gotta like wait for titles and file for titles and stuff like that. I mean, that's been like a major deal right there. It's just, it's expensive to do them. I can't do them all at the same time.
Well, and that would be my concern, is why get into a business that just junks up the property and isn't profitable and makes your neighbors mad? Being a business owner, I'll tell you, I have to follow rules. I have the state, the county, the city, fire inspectors, and they fine us, and I don't get to come in here. And if I was your neighbor, I would be really pissed, to be honest with you. I get the freedom of the country.
But there's no freedom in any of this. I mean, I bought the house out in the country because my neighbors didn't like me working on cars in the city.
Right.
And I bought a house like in between two factories, you know, on a stone road. Everything that I own, even inside my house, is covered in dust all the time.
Oh, yeah, I
So
get
it's
it.
nonstop. So, I mean, right next to where the Jake break starts for the railroad tracks, the trains running all the time. I mean, it's not like I'm in the most desirable spot out there.
Oh, I know. It's just the ordinance is still there where you gotta meet a standard, and I think you would agree if,
I think that it's a little bit, none of the neighbor lady's business. If she doesn't like what she sees, she should go the other way.
okay, well,
I mean, for her to, I don't know, she's the only person complaining. There's so
Well,
many other places around mine that
I'm
look just
telling
as
you,
bad.
I'm complaining now. This is, again, if we let everyone do this, we're just gonna have a rat's nest of tires and RVs and boats that'll
I
never
get it.
see
I'm
the
not
day of
trying
light.
to, I'm not trying to leave the mess. I'm trying to get it cleaned up.
Well, clean it up. What's the problem?
Chris?
But this was, again, this went back from March 10th, I think. And
You look
here
at
we
the
are
original
6 months
pictures and you look at
later.
what's there now. I mean, there is like quite a bit of stuff gone.
I mean, I've got all the pictures. I got pictures from a week ago, so.
Is,
Okay.
Compared to March, I mean, it does not, it's all in the eye of the beholder, right? It's all
Or-
perspective. What you see and what I see might seem to be different.
Or what you couldn't
But what
see
I
before.
see appears to be worse.
That's what I tried to
It's
tell you.
all in the eye of the
There's a lot-
beholder, man.
A lot gone.
Chris, is what he's doing an allowable usage for that property under the current zoning?
So what he's doing right now, no.
Why not?
You could have a home-based business and have vehicles as long as they're parked in a structure. He could work on, and he's rotating them out 1 or 2 cars a week, 1 or 2 cars a month, whatever it is. That's not an issue. It's the amount of stuff that's on the property, whether it's junk or not. That's up to you guys to decide. But I mean, the second he moved into that property, we got complaints. So it wasn't that way before, and it's not been fixed. So either we go out and inventory stuff and then give him 30 days to clean it up, or we work with Jim to get, I don't know how we would, this is the first one we've had where there's been actual non-compliance.
probably
So
the
we'd have
most
to see
severe.
about the county cleaning it up. And I don't know what that process takes, but despite what scrap is going for, he can make some money on the amount of scrap he can get.
I'm not anxious to go to the courts for relief on this, but if we have to, we'll have to.
I mean, we're
Obviously,
6 months out from the first notice that I delivered.
yeah.
Yeah, so and our ordinance allows for, you probably have it with you, allows for us to clean up the property and then do a lien on the
Right,
property.
yeah.
So that process is, we wouldn't have to go through the courts unless he doesn't pay the lien.
Rather not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
we don't
that's-
want to do
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The county doesn't want us to pay for that expense either. We don't
No.
have.
Right.
No, I get the point. I'm just saying it'd be nice to
Yeah.
avoid that if possible.
Bob, do you have a comment on this?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much. My name is Robert Wilder, and I guess I'm the nearest property owner to this location. I live on State Road 101, approximately 3/4 of a mile south. So almost anytime I drive, I go by this property. It seems to me it's taken too long to get this far. I've had quite a number of people contact me concerned about this, and my reply to them was, you contact the building department and let them know there's a problem. What they told me was that they were told that they had to bring in photographs and that they had to sign a statement. And that statement then becomes public information, and they're concerned about retribution as a result of filing a claim. This is a gross violation of our county ordinances. And when we ignore things like this, then our laws become scofflaws. And so it's important not to avoid the issue. And when we do, then worse things seem to happen. I don't know if you are connecting the dots in this situation, but I'd like. This is a news article that appeared in the August the 16th Star. It appeared on the front page, but it also appeared in the Butler Bulletin section as well. An article about a theft at Color Master.
That wasn't me.
It was an article about a theft at Color Master and the follow-up investigation that resulted in finding what Chief Mark Heffelfinger referred to as an estimated $400,000 in stolen items. And the address on the second page is referred to as the 6800 block of County Road 62. Now, there's only 1 mile of County Road 62. It doesn't identify the address, but is it safe to assume that this is the location?
Whose name is on there? Name?
Okay. Now, it seems to me that if I had $400,000 worth
There
of stolen
wasn't
items on my
$400,000 worth of
property,
tools there.
I would know about it. So this is what happens when we don't enforce our ordinances.
Hey, it's not funny.
I just
None of
think
this is funny.
No, it's not funny. I didn't know anything about it.
I didn't say you did. I'm just saying, you
Yeah, I
let him
just,
talk
I think
and
it's
you're
crazy
laughing at
that
him and.
he's, the ordinance is what made that happen. That's crazy.
No.
I didn't know anything about that. I didn't get charged with anything. I had nothing to do with that.
Never said you did. I'm just saying it's not funny.
It's not funny. I didn't think it
And
was
this,
funny at
this,
all.
this crap hole you have here isn't funny either, and you're gonna clean it up. If you don't clean it up, we're gonna clean it up, and
I
we're
told
gonna
you I
leave
was
the
working at
property.
it. So it's all I can do.
Clean it up. 30 days, period.
Okay.
We can't let this happen. It's just, this is horrible. I mean, do you really think it looks good?
No, I don't think it looks good. Like I said, I know that it's a problem, and I've been
Clean
working
up.
at it.
Let's clean it up.
I've been working at it. Every
How?
day I'm working at it.
How? Take it to the scrapyard. I don't care if you lose money or not. It shouldn't have been there. Every one of them vehicles, just take them to the scrapyard, scrap them out. How hard is it?
It's that hard. Takes time.
Okay?
It doesn't take 5 minutes to run to the scrapyard. It takes time.
I can have someone come there and haul them right away for you if you like.
That's not what I want.
Well, I know what, you know what? It doesn't matter what you want when you violate the law. I don't want to pay my taxes either, but I pay them if not.
I don't want to take care of my stepdad that's dying either, but I do. I do it every day.
Good. You should.
Okay, so in between doing that.
Okay.
And
I'm done talking.
okay, I'm done listening to you too. Are we
Good.
done here?
Yeah, you're done. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Do whatever it takes to get it cleaned up, guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I don't care what it costs. Just fix it. This is the kind of stuff that we have to take care of. This was too long to start with, and I'm not blaming you. You've been on top of
No,
it.
no.
People
And-
come in
and-
here and scream at us.
Yeah.
If I was his neighbor, I'd burn the place down. It's horrible that it looks
Well,
like
it's,
it.
it's not like
Excuse me.
he hasn't
And
been
like I
given.
said, typically, it's a 30-day process for me from notice number 1 to notice to appear. Then it's like, I have to give 10 days after that for
Yeah.
our commissioners meeting. This has been 6 months. And of course, that's all on me. I do have a
Well-
full-time job. This is part-time for me, so.
Well, even if there'd been half as many cars there in the last set of
Yeah,
pictures, I would
yeah.
have said, he's making some progress.
And like I,
yeah,
like I
it's
said,
not-
it's all perspective, right? I can't see inside of all of this. I can't see the middle of it, okay? I don't know what the cake looks like in the center until we poke at it. All I see is what's on the outside. And what's on the outside is bad.
Well, it's horrible looking. Just the tires alone stacked up and
Yeah, the tire's a big problem right off the bat.
Yeah,
In many different ways.
Obviously, I feel for him. I've got compassion for his whatever's
Sure,
going on. I understand that, but again, it's been 6 months. I mean,
I want to answer Bob a little bit. You know, we don't ignore the law, but we give everybody as much chance as we can. And we all agreed when we wrote the ordinance that we were going to leave, there's going to be some leeway in it. You know, we're not dictators.
Right.
We just want to clean up these messes that people complain about.
right.
And 6 months is more than enough time to have made some progress on it.
Well,
It takes one car a week out of there.
Yeah.
One a week. The cars would all be gone, or pretty much gone.
And I don't care what the scrap prices are. You shouldn't be running an illegal business out of your property to start with. And the fact that you put yourself in that position is not my concern. And so he needs to clean it up. And if it isn't cleaned up, I say we take control of it and we just send stuff out, send whoever out there to clean it
Just
up.
to touch back on, the description of my job, his comment was, there's so many properties that look worse than mine or look like mine or whatever his comment was. And I get that from a lot of these complaint violations that I get from the people that own the properties. There's so many that look like mine. My job is complaint-based.
Right.
Okay, so that's why he was here today. If somebody complains on his neighbor who may have a property similar, I'm gonna take care of that too, so.
Well, and that's a standard excuse for not keeping their property clean. Is, well, my neighbor's is worse than
Yeah.
mine, or I know one over here on the other side of the county that's
Right.
worse than mine. That's no excuse.
Well, that's what we heard from
Yeah, I
Mr.
mean,
Kraft.
it's just,
Yeah.
yeah. it's
That's
no
the way
excuse.
today is in general. Everyone it's a race to the bottom. I'm not as bad as that person,
Yeah,
therefore
yeah.
I'm okay.
It's just a cop out.
Whatever happened to, well, hey, I want to be better than the,
I mean, I understand they're property owners, it's their property, they wanna do whatever they wanna do, but, my kid's bedroom is my kid's bedroom, but I tell them to clean it up too, so.
Well, and it affects the visual of the neighbors. It affects the neighbors in a lot of ways, property value, visually, and, and rats and mosquitoes, you name it. Out of these tires and whatever else is, what happens.
Right.
And he got very defensive when when Bob mentioned the theft,
Yeah.
color master,
Yeah.
and it's like,
yeah, and I wasn't accusing him, but I'm just saying that this kind of stuff can happen with this,
Oh, yeah.
if we don't have control of
Well, if
things.
you just look at the property, he wouldn't notice another truck parked there anyway.
No,
So, yeah.
yeah.
So,
I was thinking I had a copy of the ordinance in my portfolio, but I don't, but.
no, it's,
I would suggest that we have Paul take a look in another 15, 20 days and see if there's been any change. We'll take another look at the 30-day mark, and if there's nothing going,
yeah,
we'll have
Okay.
to step in
yeah.
and get it
And,
done.
and I have his phone number, I can give him a call and let him know that's gonna be our step is,
Yeah.
I'll check back in 15 to 20 days and then again in 30 and,
Do that so he knows where he stands.
Yeah.
No excuses.
yeah.
I don't know what he's gonna do with those boats and derelict RVs and stuff. I mean,
Well, yeah.
they're not gonna scrap those. Those are,
A lot of
He's got
fiberglass and
straight
stuff,
trucks
yeah.
and,
he's got all sorts of stuff there that no one's gonna want. It's just all pure trash.
semi-trailers. And
Because we get people upset about the solar ordinance and having solar panels that are nice, and then this is a huge eyesore compared to that.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you want freedom in the country, I get that, but freedom doesn't mean you can devalue your neighbor's property.
Right. Well, and with freedom, this comes a responsibility.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's not just free isn't necessarily free.
that's right.
It takes some responsibility, I mean, it's our responsibility to keep our properties in proper condition.
Yep.
And more times than not, it's just plain laziness that it doesn't happen. And that's unfortunate, but that's not our problem.
Right.
Our problem is to fix what's
Right.
going on out there. So, thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, bother him, he needs bothered.
Yeah, don't.
Thank you, guys. No, thank you for your information, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was interesting, actually.
Yeah, appreciate your comments, Bob.
Have a good day.
Okay.
So if we see no improvement in 20 days, are we just gonna throw the hammer and clean it up ourselves and lien the property? That's where I'd lean towards. I hate to do that, but after his attitude,
Yeah.
I don't see it getting fixed.
I would say if they're not, if there hasn't been any improvement in 20 days, we need to start hiring somebody to do it, and then at the 30-day mark, if there's nothing's been done, we'll send them in.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
start that process.
You know, if he would have said, hey, I'm trying, but when you tell me it's the best you can do and the property looks worse, the best you can do obviously isn't gonna cut it, so.
Okay, Larry. You just come in, you just want to catch the fireworks.
Not really, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
That was.
Back in, probably around March, wasn't we talked about the light post outside?
I believe
Somewhere. in that
late spring, early summer.
Yeah. So anyway, just got time to come up here to look at them. The one has got a pretty good sized crack on it. The one out here on the south ramp. The one on the south ramp has got a pretty good crack in it.
What are we talking about?
The light post,
Around the courthouse.
the ones that we had.
The ones we
redone.
just refinished?
Yes.
Really? Huh.
Anyway, he's saying that it's the sidewalk is coming up and pushing up on it, and that's what cracked it.
Okay.
What they're wanting to do here is cut the sidewalk out, fix it, and put caulk back in.
Oh, okay. Let it walk a little.
Yeah, that way it's got from freezing and thawing, the expansion and stuff like that. And they're also going to go around and look at all the other ones. If there's anything that needs touched up, fix it. There's a couple spots where what they put on there has chipped off. Anyway, they're going to fix all that stuff. So this is the quote. He just came up the 16th. He said they probably wouldn't be able to get it to it until spring if we okayed it. Because you know how it is. Everybody's busy and don't have enough help and.
What's a BMC 11? Touch up the BMC 11. What's a?
That is what they put on it, for better terms, the coating or paint or whatever you want to, the sealant.
Oh,
they put,
okay.
That
All
they put on the
On the
Gotcha.
post.
I got you. All right.
the posts themselves.
All right.
Now, some of them actually have fiber showing, of the fiberglass.
This is for the light posts around the inside post, the concrete post.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is the concrete.
Yeah,
I got it.
the limestone post.
Yeah, the limestone.
Yes,
I'm on the other.
you're on the outside light
Yeah,
post.
yeah.
And that was another question I was going to have for you today too.
What do you think, fellas?
I assume it should be done. I don't know that you're gonna find anyone to do it any cheaper, and masonry trades are hard to find.
This is the same company that did them initially?
Initially, yes.
It is?
Yes. And that's why I called them back, because I didn't know if they would warrant it, and fix
Somebody
it or not, but
It's not worth, for a $4,500 job, it's not worth going out and getting more quotes.
Right.
Let's just get it done.
Yeah, and they know the situation.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's not gonna
They've
get
worked
better
on it, so
on
they
its
know
own.
what's there, what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to engage CNS Masonry Restoration for $4,520.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. motion carries.
Okay.
Get them scheduled and,
Okay, let's see what,
yeah, if something needs to be done because they're
Yeah.
gonna just keep going.
so have you and the city discussed the light post and that stuff again, or is that put on the back burner?
They've not been in touch.
I haven't heard anything.
I don't know what they were doing. Last week, there was the mayor and 3 other gentlemen. I didn't go ask what they were, whether they were looking at that situation or not, but
Okay,
I haven't.
okay. I just want to know so that if we need to get in contact with someone to refurbish those posts and paint them or all that stuff, that I should try to find somebody, or, you know what I mean? So,
I think those posts probably ought to be attended to, or if not, they're gonna need to be replaced.
Yeah.
yeah,
Are they
Like I say,
aluminum?
there is fiber showing on,
they're fiberglass.
They're fiberglass, not aluminum?
fiber showing,
Yeah, they need protection from the UV,
Yeah.
from the sun, so
so.
probably ought to paint them if we're gonna keep them.
Yeah,
I think they look fine. I wouldn't replace them unless they have a problem. I know they were talking about doing a special speaker at one time and different
Yeah.
lights, but
But regardless of the speaker situation, should we go ahead and have,
Post, yeah.
if we're gonna keep the poles, yeah, we
We're gonna
might as
keep
well
the
fix
poles.
them. I think we ought to find someone to quote.
yeah, I would say,
try to see if I can find something or find somebody. Maybe,
Would Derek Weimer be
I don't
Person
know.
that could handle that?
I'll ask him.
he painted our pools at the car lot once for us years ago.
And being their fiberglass, I don't know if, I'll talk to him about it and see if he might be able to point me in a direction and say,
Yeah.
hey,
yeah, maybe even a body man or something.
Yeah.
Because you're talking
Yeah.
fiberglass, or
Fiberglass,
somebody that's a boat, experienced fiberglass of some sort.
yeah.
Bondo and,
I'll get you a
Boat-
case
boat
of
bug guy
Rust-Oleum
or-
2X and go to town.
And then, some kind of a finish put on them that's
Yeah.
gonna really be durable. Yeah, go ahead and.
Okay, I'll look into it and see if I can, see what I can come up with. Do you guys have anything for me while I'm here, or?
Fairs this week. Can we start thinking about that public auction for the surplus in the basement?
Okay, since you mentioned the fair, I want to tell you guys how much I appreciate that the restrooms aren't open.
oh, yeah.
I just was, I know some people are upset about it, but there's other people that just don't care about those restrooms, and
I haven't had any pushback this year at all. Last year, there was some grumbling about it, but I haven't had a single negative comment this year, so, I mean, I just don't see how we can possibly do it.
Yeah, when we get through the fair, you'll know more towards the end, I suppose, if there's gonna be any pushback.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I just want to say thank you. It's just a lot of extra stuff, and people just don't care,
Yeah,
So,
that's the problem.
yeah, unfortunately. There are some that do,
Oh, yeah.
but there's other ones that just, and they
I'm
do things in there
afraid-
that you don't even want to know.
I don't even want to hear about it.
Yeah, exactly. So I personally, I want to say thank you for that.
Thing, yeah.
So,
Okay,
Welcome.
all right.
we appreciate that.
All right. You guys have a good day.
Okay,
All
you
right.
too.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Wow, look at us go.
We are good. It's all because Carla and Jody are running the show today.
Anything else, fellas? You want to continue on anything or new topic or?
I will have a proposal by the end of this week for an occupational therapist to evaluate everybody at Sunny Meadows.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I was wondering about that
Had a good
kind of.
meeting Friday, and I think they understand exactly what we need.
Yeah,
So I'll ask for a proposal, and I'll forward that to everybody as soon as I get it, so we can.
would, if some of those people need to be moved, who would facilitate that? Would that be this kind of a person or?
Yeah, yeah.
She would take care of that process?
Yeah, they'll be able to assist us with that.
Oh, okay, because that was a big question in my mind.
Yeah.
Who does this?
Yeah.
you know, we're not gonna do it. Dottie can't, obviously, can't do it.
No, it needs to be
It needs to be
handled
somebody-
by healthcare
Yeah.
professionals,
Okay,
for sure. And you know, I think regardless of what transpires at Sunny Meadows, we need to have
Now-
a basis of assessment for everybody.
they will go in and interview each and every one.
Yeah, assess their,
What would that cost be?
I'll know when I get the proposal
Okay,
and send it to you. We do have 165,000 of ARPA funds dedicated to Sunny Meadows.
oh,
So-
okay,
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, so we have that funded already.
Speaking of, just thought, go ahead.
I believe it's ROLLER, yeah.
NDR? Okay.
Yeah, and I think we okayed it last week to go ahead and.
Based on your,
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
it
and
over.
I'm good with it, yeah, yes, yes. Yeah, the system we are installing, anyone can service it. It's not proprietary technology, so,
what an improvement.
yeah. I was really disappointed how that went.
I want to make sure, because I haven't been able to get hooked up with this highway department meetings because of schedule, but we want to make sure that we don't end up with any of this,
No simplex
The
in that
same.
building, no,
well, after the heating fiasco at Community Corrections
Yeah.
by the same,
yeah.
and then this Central Communications.
I don't want
We
anything,
want everything simple and straightforward
yeah.
and usable
Usable.
out there.
Yeah, like the heating and cooling, and
Yeah.
I still don't understand that in community corrections, but,
No, right. Well, even Central Dispatch, in fact, we're putting this kind of money back into that this soon.
Yeah.
Just seems, and that doesn't count the new stations they had that we used, we got that in on, not ARPA funds, but before that,
CARES Act.
CARES
Yeah,
Act.
that was
Yeah.
the CARES Act.
That was a big,
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah.
And it was 10 years old, and we're,
yeah. Well, these displays, I mean, $8,000 for an LCD display, come on.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that just boils my blood, you
Yeah.
know? So, yeah, but yeah, that's a good point. Let's make sure there's no simplex or Johnson control units, period, in this highway department, because I do not want to deal with that
We
again.
have enough of the same players involved in this.
Yeah, we better make
Yeah.
sure that, yeah,
yeah, no kidding.
yeah, good point. So, well taken.
Anything else?
Just back on the solar, I wanted to make my statement here after some research. There's two concerns I'm hearing from folks. One is pollution, and supposedly these solar cells have cadmium and lead and stuff that pollutes, but the only way I see that they could actually pollute the groundwater is if we had a thunderstorm or tornado that smashed them into bits, and then the bits were left and the rain came and over. So I get the concern there, but I think of pollution, I think of ammonia and everything else farmers use that put in the food that ends up, or on the ground that ends up in the waterway. I'm not sure I buy that one as much. I do understand the concern about devaluing their property, but I'll tell you a story. We built a very nice house on County Road 40A. I don't know if you remember where me and Dennis Fry built there.
Yeah.
A field goes for sale behind us, 82 acres. I immediately call the realtor trying to buy it. He says, sorry, already sold, kind of a prearranged deal. Mutton bought it out of Fort Wayne. The first thing he filed for is to put a mobile home park behind us. Now, that was farm ground. They were going to change it. They were going to okay them to go to high density or mobile home park or whatever you call it. And I was upset, but you know what? That's why I'm in town now. I can't afford what I want out in the country, because out in the country, I need 500 acres, so I don't have to look at what this gentleman was, you know? And so I see it both ways. I see it as farmers, hey, we should be able to do it with our property as one. If the tax base goes up 10, we're willing to pay it. But then again, it's farm ground. So should we allow farm ground to be used for, I mean, I get pulled in all directions, but I will say this though, without the federal government's help, these solar farms, commercial solar farms make 0 cents. And here nor there, that doesn't concern us. We're taking in the income that we can get from economic development. But I have no love for these farms per se, and I do take that into consideration.
I have one comment on this, and I wasn't going to do this today. I was going to do it Thursday, but I'll go ahead and, what has bothered me from the very start, we rent the county farm for $250 a year per acre.
Right.
That's on the high end. Probably average in this area is closer to 200.
Yeah.
These folks are going to pay them 4 times that,
Right.
and then pick up the increase in property tax,
Which is
and
huge.
then turn around and want an abatement.
Right.
Now, something's wrong with that picture in my mind. That they're paying these farmers, they're making them an offer they can't refuse.
Right.
It's going to be hard, very hard for them to refuse. And I know there's this other stuff involved, but this needs to be substantial.
Yeah.
This kickback needs to really, in my mind, really needs to be substantial. If we're going to give them an abatement.
And
After all, they're willing to pay everybody else.
I agree.
And turn around and beg us for an abatement?
Yeah, and that's why I suggested that we involve Baker Tilly and Rick Hall from Barnes Thornburg, because they've negotiated a number of these, probably 20 or 30 of these economic development agreements around the state, so they really have an inside track and a lot of experience, because I want to make sure that the county sees every possible benefit we can
Right.
get from that.
Oh, it's got to be.
Because we can do a lot of good things with that money.
Well, and another point someone made, I believe I read, is, well, hey, this electricity isn't even going to stay in the area. Well, neither does the beans and corn we produce. It goes to China, it goes to wherever. So
Yeah, that's a pretty specious argument, really.
yeah, the legitimate gripe from anyone would be, I don't want to look at them, and I get that. But again, in our ordinance, I think we've been I just don't like the whole thing. I don't like deals like this, period, but this is how the world works. And, you know, if we are gonna, I'm with Bill though, and I think Mike is on the same page, it's gonna have to be a sweet deal for me to sign off. And then, you know, but if we can, I think our ordinance is solid.
Yeah.
If we can negotiate a good deal, I think that it'll benefit. And one of the emails I think I read, well, that'll be a lot of money for you guys. Well, it isn't our money. It's the county's money. So it's a lot of money for the county. So if a road can get paved because we allow this, that's adding value to people's homes at that point. And
I think one of the things we may have to look at is those folks that are living out there amongst those, that their road does get hard surfaced.
yeah,
I think, you know, they need some benefit out of this.
yeah.
Whether that's doable or not, I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's kind of what in the back of my
Got to
mind.
improve the county.
Sure. Yeah, and I think and we'll be able to do the calculations and actually get some numbers together, but if we can knock 3 or 5 cents off the tax rate from the increase in the assessed valuation, that's a pretty,
Yeah.
pretty good benefit to
Sure.
everybody
We-
in the
we
tax
could-
rolls.
Counter DeKalb Central's increase.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But, I agree. We need to make sure that we are on top of the economic development agreement.
Okay.
Oh, I did, and then I forwarded that email that
Oh,
Mr.
okay.
Steary sent that I
Okay.
responded to. But
Okay.
the property rights thing is a
stick
big
around.
issue for me, because a lot of these farmers now are getting older, their kids don't want to farm. So this gives them a succession plan to be able to retire instead of farming until they're, they drop over in the field.
Yeah.
And, I think realistically, the people who have concerns about things would not want us telling them what they can or can't do, or
I
who
agree.
they can or can't sell.
I'm a
their
full
to.
property rights person, just like though the gentleman that doesn't clean up his property.
Yeah.
We have ordinances.
Yeah.
And I think our ordinance was fair.
I do too.
And
Well, yeah, I don't know what else we could do with
I
that
treated the
ordinance.
property owners fairly and the developers as well.
with that said, I also understand their pain, but that's why I live in town. I can't afford what I want out in the country. I don't have Bill's money, so I can't have that kind of acreage and a lake. And
You ain't gonna get it either. Let's take a break, do the pledge, and then come back just for a few more comments.
Wrap up.
And we'll wrap up and get out of here.
I'm good. Hey, are the donuts open yet? That's all I care about.
They are, I'm sure. They've probably been making donuts since 5 o'clock this morning.
Oh, well, I can run over and grab them. I'm told you can eat a dozen donuts before noon and there's no carbs since it's 12 before 12.
Oh,
Right? Is that how it works? Yeah.
I'm glad. Glad to understand that.
For that meeting we had on city council, I think it was 9 or 11 minutes.
Anyway, I want to just want to. Yeah, she said it was September 12th. That would have been about 2 weeks ago. You so it was run between the guardrail and the.
Someday those are gonna get restored too.
Never happens. Yeah.
Well, it's unreality is what.
Okay, just out in the open.
Can't fix one.
Yeah.
So.
So that never would have been approved on the utility permit then? No, yeah.
Well, Green X sent me a PDF to enlighten me on how solar works, so.
Get that forward I sent to
Oh,
you.
I read the whole thing. It was good information.
Yeah.
And I agree with his dissertation in there. I have no disagreement with what the guy says. My point again is,
But, I mean, we're not liable for fixing them for sure.
we, if one of them farms that had 1,000
No.
acres wanted to put a CAFO
Yeah,
there,
and the fact
he
that
could apply
Century
for it.
Can't respond. It's not our-
And we wouldn't be able to deny it if it
So it
met
was
all the
very-
zoning requirements. What would you rather have?
Yeah.
Careful what you
Yeah.
ask for.
I'm gonna go to the Farm Service Office. I wanna get some field maps. I'm gonna find out how many acres we still have in set aside. How many acres still in set aside in DeKalb County? They talk about these acres not being, going to solar, reducing the farm acreage. I know we still got acreage in set aside.
What do you mean by set aside?
Government pays you not to farm.
Oh, yeah, in the
Of course, it can be,
the program where you let it go to nature type deal, right?
you go to nature or just nothing.
Yeah,
You know, you just have there's still some of that.
yeah, which never made any sense to me, but okay. Yeah, you know, again, I'm a freedom person and I thought our ordinance was fairly restrictive. I think it protected people more than other counties. But I get people's concern, I really do. I don't discount it, but like I said, I can't afford what I'd like to have in the country because I know that some guy like that will move next to me or a solar field will go in that I don't want or something.
Right.
That's part of living out there.
There's it's just a lot to this.
Yeah. And then if I can put solar panels 10 foot off my property line and face them right at your back door,
Yeah,
how's that any worse? Or that's much worse, in my opinion.
it would be. It would be, you know, and, yeah, you look out your window and they're just 10 feet from your property line is, the neighbor's got maybe a 20
Yeah.
kW,
Yeah. Yeah. You did what, 10 kilowatt on yours?
10. I tell you what, they say, well, they generate even on cloudy days. Not very much,
No, clouds, it matters the thickness of the cloud too, but yeah,
about 15%
is all you get?
all you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it cuts it pretty. it cuts
Oh,
it
I'm
pretty-
sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Florida, they make a ton of sense just because
Oh, go Florida, Arizona.
Arizona, Florida, New Mexico, California, anywhere where the sun shines 90% of the time, you're making bank.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't understand why these commercial solar fields don't target those areas more, but maybe because the grid isn't there.
Appreciate it.
How can they come in here with the amount of sunshine and
problem.
offer
Have a
this
good
kind of
day.
money to these farmers
Bye.
and then want
I think it has to do with ITC and the PTC tax credits they can apply for. Because those are open, those are open to commercial too, so that ITC is up to 30%. So
yeah,
30%, and it's open to corporations also that are doing it for commercial. And then they can do a PTC, which is per kilowatt instead, and I don't understand it, to be honest with you. You're ready to fire up, I'm ready.
yeah, let's fire it back. Let's fire it back up.
We're on.
Okay, back in session. Anything else on, I guess on the solar? I have one thing I want to run by you. We talked about community corrections. I see they're up to 52
Yes,
on work release now. That's bed capacity.
yeah.
I also see their electric bill is up to $7,613.
More people, yeah.
More people. I've not talked to RES yet. I think I'm gonna call them today, because we got that 30% now. That, maybe we need to take another look at that and see what we can come up with to reduce that electric bill. If we can use ARP money, it's not gonna have to come out of the general budget or out of anything else. We can use some of that ARP money for that. We talked about
We had
500,000.
500,000 in there, which would have put in the smaller installation that they
Yeah.
presented to us, yeah,
And would it be a possibility maybe we should go a little higher than that?
Yeah.
If that makes sense?
yeah.
Okay. I'll get ahold of Doug or Eric over there and get him going on the serious consideration on that. Because it just, look at our electric bills. You look at the jail, you look at the courthouse. Gosh, we spent a bunch of money. A bunch.
Tell you another.
13,000 for the jail.
Oh, wow. Is it that much? Per month? Oh, my. One thing that concerns too, I need to get with Chris Zerniak on our natural gas. I think we locked in 50 or 60% of our consumption in the $4 range, and it hit 9, so that was good. But I needed to ask him how we're positioned going into the winter now,
Yeah, that would be good to know.
because while natural gas has went down, I think it got into the high 6s, low 7s. I heard predictions anywhere from $10 to $12 over the winter.
Of the winter.
And Europe's paying up to $100. And I don't know how they're talking about an average home in Europe being $1,500 to $2,000 per month to heat. So
I know there's some, I didn't catch much of it. There's a program on television about the farmers. It's a farmer on, and about the gas prices to dry corn.
to dry the corn, yeah,
Oh, it takes a lot of gas,
a lot of gas.
and they're concerned about those expenses.
Because if you bring wet corn in, I mean, you get docked huge.
Oh, yeah.
If it's over a certain humidity percentage, isn't it? Like 21% or something, or?
Well, it's, I think the dock rate is about 14 or 15, but, sometimes if you get a wet year, late year, corn to come in, I picked it off in the high 20s.
Really?
And then if you take it to the elevator, you get docked, and plus the drying charge,
Yeah,
or you get shrinkage.
yeah.
You get a shrinkage charge, and then their drying charge is 50% more than what you can dry at home for, if you have the
You
setup.
have the facility, yeah.
And so I had to take it in fairly dry as I could, but I think it takes a lot of BTUs,
Yeah.
take that much moisture out of corn.
I'll call Chris and ask him how we're positioned, because that is, we don't definitely want to get caught with our pants down like we did on the President's Day, $50,000 for a weekend.
And if it's gonna pretty sure go up, lock in some more.
Well, if we don't start, natural gas, what a lot of people don't realize is in this country, the reason why we have a plethora of it, or did, is because when you open up a fracking well, the natural gas just fizzles out of there. Matter of fact, do you remember in the good old days, as I call them, where they drill put an oil rig in, and then there'd be a flame burning at the top?
Yeah.
You know what the flame was? They didn't know what to
Natural
do with the natural gas. Like, what do we do with this stuff? So they just light it on fire.
Burn it off.
They just burn it off.
Yeah, and now, we have such a asset there, and we're so stupid. Instead, we're putting in these solar fields when the natural gas was almost free,
Yeah,
because it's a byproduct of the oil.
Right,
And we're just totally backwards how we should be.
yeah.
why we need Republicans in the.
And good Republicans.
Setting the energy policy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I had. You guys, anything else?
I talked with Ben Parker
Oh,
that was out on County Road 32. There had some water in the road problems, and they fixed the berm on some areas, and we're pulling the sod back from around the bridge there. Anyway, this CenturyLink cable was run in front of the guardrail, between the guardrail and the road, and then attached to the front of the bridge. So they nicked it as they were working on the bridge there. Never should have been there. at all, and it never would have been approved under a utility permit. So,
That makes sense.
yeah,
It's almost always the case.
yeah.
It's just not where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, so he said that this Becky Roller calling out the highway department was pretty nasty with them this morning. So I don't know what, Ben said we might get a bill from CenturyLink on it, but regardless, you know, the fact that they can't get anybody out there to fix it in this amount of time is not our problem.
No.
So,
I sure
you know,
hope.
I don't know if you want, you know, what you exactly want me to tell her, but that was my thought.
Well, you need to tell her what Ben has told you.
Yeah, well, yeah, that, for sure.
Obviously, that the line was not where it was supposed to be. It was imperiled because of the placement.
Yeah,
We have to be able to do maintenance on our highways and our right-of-ways
yeah,
without running into this stuff. And, you know, it's not as deep as it should be. It's in the wrong place. That she needs to really get on CenturyLink.
yeah. Ben said if a car would have hit the guardrail, it would have taken it out too,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's like, so yeah, just relay that
Yeah, okay.
back to her.
Shouldn't have been there, unfortunately. And I get her grief. I mean, I understand her grief. It's just, it's directed at the wrong people.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would be upset if I was
Oh, yeah.
out of internet for a month too, but.
Yeah.
But it's not
Not
our fault that it's not repaired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ben did say that they called and reported it. He was going to check with Kelly to see who she talked to or if she just left messages or whatever, but they did report it.
They did
within
report it.
within a couple of days. So.
Yeah, yeah, if you want to see that picture of that culvert. Can't believe they plowed through a culvert.
Cut through it, you mean, right?
They cut through it.
Were they like,
Knifing that cable. The cable was laying in the cut
no
in
kidding?
that culvert.
Now that's talent.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's like, well, one thing, you know darn well, that's not at the back of the right of way. It's the front of the right of way. It's not the culvert. And they caught it far enough in, if you'd have caught it out towards the end, it would have bent the culvert around, you'd have thought. Both, you know, it just, that culvert anchored well enough in there, it cut through it. It's still culvert. It's not an all rusty piece of junk either, it's, and that had to be a tug. I don't care what you're cutting with, it had to be a tug.
Oh, yeah. Steel pipe?
What I just hit.
Yeah.
You would have thought you'd.
I didn't hit anything. Keep going.
See, no, you know, I didn't feel, yeah. Okay,
One other thing just came to mind. There are at least a handful of other properties in the county that are not, we're not making any progress with, same way as with this guy here. At least two or three that there was just an issue with, I can't remember the name, but I had to get the health department and the sheriff and some other people involved in that, but that property is horrible and not making any progress with it. So, you know, this may be something that we want to stay on top of, you know, the really bad ones that we're not getting any cooperation on.
Yeah.
Well, and I
You
think.
know, I don't mind, if people are really making an effort, I don't mind giving them some time
Absolutely.
or working with them, but.
Absolutely.
To just be ignored and kind of thumb your nose at everything, I think we need to take a little harder stance on some of these things.
Well, you know, and the sheriff has a drone, he can fly the drone around and take pictures of the property and, you know, we can take pictures every 30 days with the drone if we have to and say, okay,
yeah.
there's, you know, and that, like I said, his attitude was, hey, I've got problems, so I don't have to fix anything. Well, you created your own problems for the most part. Every time I've gotten in trouble, I've usually pretty much created my own problem. I'll admit it, you know?
Stuff and junk and tires just didn't walk in there on its own.
No, and
It's
to
just
say, well, the prices are down, so I can't get, well, you're not supposed to be running a business out of there to start with.
And it didn't have titles to some of that? No, why don't they have titles?
You wouldn't believe how some of these guys operate, and you know, it's,
Maybe somebody else has the title,
well, they
but
do.
not the vehicle.
Yeah, there's all sorts of,
It just come up missing, you know? Who knows? You start to wonder.
Yeah.
You start
Well, a lot of
start running
times
the VIN
people-
numbers on those vehicles, what might come up?
a lot of them times, those vehicles are like buy here, pay here vehicles, and people are like, I don't run, hey, I'll give you $200 for it. Where's the title? I'll get it to you later. You know,
yeah.
title never shows up. And it's just unfortunate that,
It is.
and I feel for them in a way that, hey, I'm trying to get by, I'm trying to make it, but then again, when you thumb your nose, say, I'm doing the best I can, if they ain't good enough for you, basically go screw yourself. Well, okay, no problem. We'll take care of it. So,
Ladies, you have anything? Okay.
all right.
Anything else? Oh, how the AIC conference? Anything to come back with us on that? Other than there's a lot of solar conversation.
Yeah, a lot of solar. There was some big discussion on health department dollars coming back to the counties. Now, yeah, the state, Indiana's about 40th in healthcare realm in healthy populations. So the state's going to put about $260 million into public health and bring that back to the local health departments.
Is that money going to come through the Health Commission that Holcomb appointed? A lot of issue there, what I'm hearing, that we give up a lot of control, local control.
Yeah,
This commission is going to, and it was appointed, it wasn't elected, this health commission. There's some pushback on that.
Doesn't Senator, there was a senator, I can't remember his name now, there was a senator there in the state public health, Dr. Box, the state public health officer, made the presentation, and it really didn't sound like there were going to be a lot of strings on how this is done. I mean, it's basically all slotted at healthy populations, you know, healthy
That's what we'll have to
habits
look,
and so forth.
yeah, we'll have to make sure that what strings are attached to this, because according to this group, it could be substantial. You just give up an awful lot of your self-control, which again is centralized in the government. And we see how that's been going. So we don't need more of that, but something to consider, sure.
Yeah. And there's a big push on the mental health side of things too. There,
Oh, yeah.
in fact, I'm going to a conference in October at the Indiana Supreme Court. Chief Justice is sponsoring it. You know, they're trying to avoid having the jails be the place to house people with mental health issues, and then have all that overcrowding. So there's a lot going on there. The other thing that I went to, and I'll share some information on that with you too, by email, but there's a whole bunch of money coming down from this infrastructure bill that the feds passed. About $700 million will come into the state for broadband. And there's also money there for highway departments, for roads and bridges and so forth too. So airports, a lot of different things there, but I made some contact with the head of the state broadband initiative. So, and I have some information on what's available for transportation and so forth. So I'll share all that with you too. But it was a great conference.
Okay.
Really,
All righty.
really worthwhile. Too many carbs in all the food though, so.
Okay, I think that's it. We are adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen. It was a short but good session, I thought. I'm glad we came in.
Yeah, great.
Cleaned up some loose ends and
Yep.
had a little entertainment.
Ah,
I think that's probably not the right term for it.
Yeah, I didn't mean to be a jerk.
Yeah.
You gotta clean it up.
Just sometimes it
well, yeah, I think that was,
needs to be said, some things.
that's the correct approach. You know, you've got to do it. You don't want to, but you got to,
Yep.
or we will.
Agree.
You know, and, you know, and it ends up being like, you know, drainage projects that people have been complaining about
Yeah.
for 20 years, and it doesn't get any better. And
Yeah.
You reach a point where you just got to do something
Fix it.
about it.
You eventually say, just do it.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Darrell.
Thanks for your patience with this.
Now send, Susan say, this is how stuff gets done efficiently.
Oh,
Yeah, we're done it.
just please don't say